Good afternoon. My name is Phyllis Pollack, and I am the principal of PGP Mediation. I've been a full-time mediator for about 20 years, and I also have a website, pgpmediation.com. And on it, I have been posting a blog almost every Friday for the last 10 years or so. Today, I decided I would do a video version of the blog post, and the blog that I have selected for today is entitled Knitting While Zooming. For the past 3 or more years, many of us have been living on Zoom or a similar video conference platform. And no doubt, many times our attention and minds and those of others on the virtual conference have wandered, and we find ourselves looking at emails or texts or social media feeds, or playing games on our phones when we should be paying attention to and concentrating on what is going on in the video conference. And we've also noticed this lag in other members of the call. Well, an interesting article in the New York Times on March 31, 2023, highlighted a counterintuitive fact that it is appropriate to knit while attending a Zoom or virtual meeting. The article is entitled "Knitters Say Stitching Helps Them Follow the Thread of Meetings" by April Rubin. And the article recites that evidently at a video conference meeting in Wales, a county council person was accused of, quote, bringing the body in disrepute, end quote, by knitting at a virtual public meeting. And in response, the council person stated that it actually helped her sharpen her attention to what was being said, and thus helped her focus to a greater extent to the proceeding than if her hands were idle. And John Rady, an associate professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, notes that the council person has a valid point. He states, quote, "The fine motor movement required for knitting, crocheting, doodling, or using a fidget spinner activates the same part of the brain used for focus. So these activities really do help sharpen our awareness. But other activities that require too much concentration, like reading a social media feed or playing a game on a smartphone, can push a person out of productivity and into unfocused multitasking." He goes on to state that being involved with something will help make a person with flagging attention be more attentive. You will turn on the prefrontal cortex if you're doing something like knitting, end quote. But the article also notes the obvious, that we are each different in how we approach and manage tasks. Thus, in our ability to focus or to concentrate or get something accomplished to the best of our abilities, we will differ to the extent that we need to do something else while doing that. Thus, it is important to accept the fact that some folks, especially those with ADHD, may indeed need to be doing something with their hands while at a virtual meeting rather than sitting idle. So, what is the takeaway? The takeaway is that if you are at a meeting or at a mediation, and one of the other persons may be doodling or twiddling a pencil or a fidget spinner, or even knitting or crocheting, don't think that they're not paying attention. It is just the opposite. It may actually be helping them be more focused on what is being said by virtue of doing that something else than if they just sat idly listening. But at the same time, the article does note that if one is a beginner knitter or crocheter, this learning curve may actually distract one's attention away from the meeting. But once one is proficient at knitting, etc., such activity will actually help them focus on the meeting. So as the article notes, doodling, knitting, etc., is much better than reading emails and texts and social media or playing games on our phones. Those tasks really will detract our attention and concentration away from the virtual meeting. So while it's okay to do some stuff while also paying attention to what is going on at that virtual meeting, be careful of what it is that you are doing, because it may indeed detract your attention. Thank you very much and have a good day.